Hi, Big Steve from Big Steve's Little Farm here. What I'm going to show you today is how to replace the steering gear and the pilot shaft bearing on the steering column for a Cub Cadet Rider Mower. Now the Cub Cadet Rider Mower that I use is an LT 1050. As you can see, I've already got it up on blocks and I've removed the mower deck from it. Now you could also watch for my video on how to remove and replace that mower deck and how to replace that fan belt on it as well. But today we're concentrating on the steering gear and the pilot bearing on that steering shaft. So, first thing I'm going to do is get down underneath here and we'll find the steering gear. And here it is right here. Now in the interest of time, I've gone along and I've replaced or removed a lot of these, loosened them up so they'll come off easier. Now if you were to take this to the shop to have it replaced, they would remove this yellow plate, this undercarriage plate. They would remove it all to get up underneath here to repair this. But I'm going to try to do a quick and easy fix, how to get around all that, and so we can get this thing back out and cutting again. If I were to go remove this, I'd have to remove the clutch, the pulley, the tie rods here, the main gear. I'd have to remove the accelerator shaft here as well as the brake shaft, and that would just be a lot of labor intensive, and I thought, well, maybe I can do it this way and hopefully it works out, and hopefully it helps you guys. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the shaft, or the bearing, the nut on the end of the shaft, I'm sorry. And we're going to take the gear off. So I have another gear here. This is the old gear. This is the one I just removed, and you can see how worn it is. And the reason why it's worn is because this steering shaft has a lot of play in it. And that's because the pilot bearing that's up inside there is worn out. So we're going to replace that today too. So here's the new gear. We're not going to replace it just yet. I just wanted you to see it. And we need to get this steering shaft up and out of our way to get to the pilot bearing. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go back up on top of the mower. And I'm going to pull the steering wheel up. And when you do this, you want to make sure that your steering wheel is straight, because when it goes back in, however way you set it in there, if you set it in like this, it's going to stay in there. That's how it'll be. If you set it in straight, it'll always stay in straight. But for right now, we're going to move it up. And I'm going to take this rag and these vice grips, and I'm going to clamp them around the steering column. And the reason why I'm doing that is to hold the shaft up. The reason why I'm using the rag is so it doesn't scar the shaft all up. So I'm going to make sure that my steering wheel is straight. We'll have to keep checking on that as we go. And now we're going to get back down underneath so we can get to that pilot shaft. So as you look here, you can see the shaft is really wobbly. It's this right here. It's worn out and it's oblong, and that's what's causing the shaft to move back and forth, which causes the gear to miss the teeth on this gear. So we want to replace that too. Now I've gone along earlier and I punched this thing out, but you might have to get a hammer and a punch to it to knock it out. And of course it doesn't want to come off that easy right now. And doing this with only one hand is just... There it goes. So we got it knocked out. Now it's up underneath this plate, and I can't get my hands up underneath there to grab it. There's just no room for my hands. So what I'm going to do So I got a little trick here that I'm bringing in this extendable magnet, and I'm going to stick it up underneath this piece, and I'm going to go in until I feel and I see that the magnet has gotten a hold of that bearing, and I will pull it back out, and there you can see the bearing on the end of the magnet. So if you look at the bearing, see how oblong it is and how worn out it is, and that was the cause of all my problems. So I'm going to replace it with this new bearing, and I'm going to do it the same way that I removed the old one from. I'm sticking it on the end of this magnet, and I'm going to slide it up underneath there in hopes it falls into place. So I'm going to put the camera in my mouth for a second, because I think I'm going to need two hands on this. But I can see the bearing right there, and now I'm going to need to remove it from the magnet. So I pulled the magnet out, and I apologize for my hands in the way. Really tight quarters. I'm going to try to line up this bearing where that looks like it's fit, where it's fit snug right in there. That's a beautiful thing. So now I'm going to go back up top, and I'm going to let go of my shaft. I'm going to lower the steering shaft back down to where it should slide in. And again, remember, we want to check the steering to make sure it's straight, because once we put that new gear in and that bolt in, this is exactly how it will sit. So now we're going to go back down underneath, and we're going to take our new gear and we're going to put our new gear up in there. It seems to fit pretty good. We will put the nut and the washer back on. And then now we will go back and tighten this up. And everything should work fine from that point as far as the steering goes. So that's about it. Then you can go along and put the mower deck back on, and you should be up and running and mowing again. So that's about it. I hope this video helps you. If you like what you saw here today and this helps you out, click on us, like us on YouTube, and if you'd like to know more about what we do here on our little farm, then subscribe to us and keep looking out for more videos that help you on and about your farm. This is Big Steve from Big Steve's Little Farm. Thanks for watching.